Biden administration forbid Israelis from coming into America.
Oh, yeah, Biden's so tough on Israel. That's why you can't check. This is what Biden did to Israel. You're slaughtering Palestinian children. You need it rain.
You're obsessed with Israel, but what about...
I'm not obsessed with Israel.
But what about the law being done by China? What about the law being
obsessed with Israel? This is all nonsense.
But
this is all nonsense.
That's completely correct.
Because they never investigated any Irish people on student visas. Any Irish people who are on green cards. They never... Look, the PKK is a Kurdish terrorist organization. Did they investigate anybody who supports them? No. The only people that are investigated are people who criticize Israel.
Not true.
I dare you to challenge any other...
You're playing the very what about you. I told you
be in favor of any other terrorist group. You'll have zero problems in America.
But
if you say Israel, oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, the money. Come on, keep it real.
Piers better brace himself. It's time to keep it real. Welcome back, folks. Cenk smirking like a mad scientist, ready to drop a debate grenade on free speech. Israel and America are playing deportation roulette, while criticizing Bibi gets you kicked out faster than a gatecrasher at a mega rally. But wait, plot twist, Cenk's already obliterating Piers' nitpicking nonsense. RIA supporters sip Guinness without a care. So where's their deportation parade? Meanwhile, the US politicians are getting roasted at Israel's ATM lobbyists. 337 million buys what exactly? Silence? Complicity? That's Trump, he's got the receipts. Piers is clutching the rule books like a Brit lost in a Texas barbecue brawl, while Nadine swoops in to drop truth facts. Let's dive in.
Yeah,
America
are they going to throw out the Israeli supporters that love terrorism and say that it's okay for Israel to kill 400 times the number of children that Hamas has?
Well,
Israel's clearly more of a terrorist group.
Before I go to Nadine,
hang
on. The key point is America has categorized Hamas as a terrorist organization.
Correct.
It does not categorize Israel in that way.
It should.
Well, okay, that's an argument, but it's not the reality of where we are with it at the moment. Nadine, let me bring you in here. I mean, you've been on these marches. Famously, I think you came on my show after you'd been on one on the day of your wedding because you felt so passionately about this. But do you accept that any country and any government would be perfectly within their rights if they have identified an organisation as a terrorist organisation, as America has with Hamas, for example, and that is how they're categorised, that if you are openly supporting a terror organisation, as we saw that CUAD, which Mahmoud Halil fronts, has done publicly and with no apparent shame, that if you do that, then that country is entitled to deport you because you're supporting openly a terrorist organisation.
We haven't seen CUAD do that, so I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, we just had a quote read to us by Winston. Hang on, Winston just read a quote which CUAD had posted, in which they described what happened on October the 7th as a victory.
Okay, and that's Palestinian resistance broadly. They're not referring to any specific Palestinian
They said Al-Aqsa flood specifically.
We'll talk about examples. How many Irish Americans supported the IRA? Do you see them getting deported for supporting the IRA in their time? No, we didn't see that happen. So it's actually still under the purview of freedom of speech. But again, Palestinians even saying that they think Palestine should be free or chanting from the river to the sea are accused of things like anti-Semitism and terrorism. So I just see that as an extension of it. And honestly, all of their arguments are completely delegitimized because they just throw them out on anybody speaking in support of Palestinian liberation, no matter what they say. So, you know, I don't think that's a fair argument to engage with.
Two things for Winston. One, the general point about free speech. You know, the Republicans have been extremely hot on free speech. People's rights, especially Elon Musk, right? He's returned X, as he put it, to a platform that allows all opinion to be had. He has somebody who's expressing opinions that he may not like, and Donald Trump may not like, and the government may not like, but their first reaction, it seems to many people, is to then chuck them out of the country and suppress their right to free speech in America. That's an arguable point. But on the second point, which is an interesting one about the IRA, there's no doubt. You know, I'm an Irish Catholic. I can remember people on the streets of New York on St. Patrick's Day and other days, right? I can remember people openly supporting the IRA during those troubles, and they were a prescribed terror group. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that this is not a free speech issue necessarily. So, for example, as I've already quoted, what it is that is Mahmoud Khalil is being deported on is that he broke the rules that he agreed to when he came to America. He can continue saying what he wants. In fact, he could have said all that he said Or rather, no, he can't. He can't express support for Hamas. He could have expressed support for Palestine. He could even have been anti-Semitic, and it wouldn't have broken the rules. But specifically, he supported terrorist activity and terrorist organisation, and that broke the rules, which he agreed to when he came to America.
This is all nonsense.
But
This is all nonsense.
That's completely correct.
Because they never investigated any Irish people on student visas. Any Irish people who are on green cards. They never look. The PKK is a Kurdish terrorist organization. Did they investigate anybody who supports them? No. The only people that are investigated are people who criticize Israel.
Not true.
Who are we kidding? No. I want you to answer the question.
Yeah.
Be honest and be serious.
No.
Do you think that any other country or any other movement is investigated other than if you dare to criticize our special ally Israel because they buy all our politicians? That's so obvious. That's the most obvious thing in the world. Anyone who doesn't acknowledge that, including every single mainstream media reporter in America, is an enormous liar. It is the money talking, saying, how dare you arrest anyone who dares to criticize Israel. Admit that that's true.
2023,
if you don't admit that's true, then there's no point in this conversation.
In 2023, the Biden administration forbid Israelis from coming into America.
Biden's so tough on Israel. That's why you get check. This is what Biden did to Israel. You're slaughtering Palestinian children. He made it rain.
You're obsessed with Israel, but what about?
I'm not obsessed with Israel.
What about the lobbying done by China? What about the lobbying done by Japan?
Eating all the money from the Israeli lobby.
Done by Pakistan? What about the lobbying done by the Saudis, the Qataris?
Here we go. They're always the whataboutism.
All of these countries.
Well, we get to commit a genocide because Pakistan also killed some people.
Unbelievable.
Okay, look, America and everyone else in the world. Now you're clear. I believe that Israel has disproportionate power in America because their lobby, for example, has given $337 million to Trump.
Doesn't compare to what the China lobby has given to America. Doesn't compare to what
give a more direct example.
All of these countries.
Hang on.
Let me just make this last point in regards to this.
Last point by Cenk, then Nadine.
So this is the epitome of cancel culture.
Sorry, just like
wait one second, Nadine. I'll bring you in after Nadine.
Nadine,
wait one second. Nadine, wait 1 second. Cenk first.
So this is the epitome of cancel culture, but we're canceling people on behalf of a foreign government. Musk and Trump said that they were free speech absolutists. But now they say, no, there's one exception, and there was always one exception. You'll get no Epstein files. You'll get no freedom of speech. We'll do nothing but cancel culture, but always on behalf of beloved special ally Israel that has stuffed all of our pockets with millions of dollars.
On a technical point, Cenk, is Winston not correct that if you're not a naturalized citizen of the United States, I happen to know this, I'm an exceptional alien in your country. That's what it says on my visa. I don't complain about the wording. It is a bit weird. You call us exceptional aliens. But if I'm going to be an alien, I may as well be exceptional. But it's a very difficult process. It's a long process. It's an expensive process to become an exceptional alien in your great country. But if I was to suddenly start supporting an organization that is a prescribed terrorist group in the United States, I would be in breach, as Winston said, of the criteria by which I signed up to enter the country. So on that purely legal, technical point, you might play whataboutery with other groups and say it hasn't been consistent. That's a perfectly rational argument to have. But is the US government in breach of his First Amendment rights if they can establish he has supported openly Hamas, and that would go against all the paperwork he signed up to when he became a green card holder in America?
Look at this chicanery. So Israel buys all of our politicians, says every group opposed. Hold on. Every group opposed to me, put them on a terrorist list. Even though I do 400 times worse terrorism, don't put me on the terrorism list. Now all of you corrupt American politicians, put all of our enemies on a terrorist list, and on top of that, I want your money. Give me $300 billion. On top of that, I want you to attack all these guys that I'm calling terrorists that are just Israel's enemies. So they completely control the American government in this direction, and I'm not interested in it. I dare you to challenge any other. Be in favor of any other terrorist group. You'll have zero problems in America.
But
if you say Israel, oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, the money. Come on, keep it real.
Just to repeat.
Biden's top donor, Trump's top donor, Kamala's top donor.
Like I said, there might well be many inconsistencies. That's a perfectly valid point to make. But on the specific question I asked you, is the government infringing on his First Amendment rights, Mahmoud Halil, if they can establish he supported Hamas, which is a prescribed terror group? That would put him in breach of his entry requirements and criteria to become a green card holder? Are they not legally? Oh, well, hang on. Under that pretext, are they not legally? Well, hang on, Nadine. I'm going to come to you. Are they not legally in their rights to do it in that eventuality?
No. So I heard all the time from MAGA that, hey, free speech isn't just about the First Amendment. It should also apply to social media, and we should protect free speech no matter what. We should be free speech absolutists. And MAGA has actually been fairly consistent about this, and that is why Trump is going to lose part of his base by constantly saying, I want to do cancel culture for Israel. I want to violate the First Amendment. I want to violate free speech, as long as Miriam Adelson keeps sending me checks. So no, this is against the principles of free speech in America. I don't care that Israel got a corrupt law passed to make it illegal to criticize them or to support any of their enemies. And hey, would Israel accept a 58-year occupation? And if they dared to fight back, would we call them terrorists? Of course we wouldn't.
Okay, let me bring in Nadine. Nadine.
Yeah, I mean, material support isn't, applicable to free speech. Material support requires way more than speech. So this idea that, supporting a terrorist organization is not really applicable here. And if we look at organizations like the Jewish Defense League, which up until recently were considered a terrorist organization by the United States, they were able to openly operate in New York City, in the streets of New York City. They've been counter-protesting within our lifetime protests for over 10 years, and oftentimes joined by Israelis, by people who are not U.S. citizens, coming and threatening us at our protests. One of the organizations that actually claimed to work with the government to bring up Khalil's case, Batar, is a nonprofit, 501c3 here in New York City, offering people $1,800, a bounty on my head, to give me a beeper, which, obviously calls back to the beeper attacks on Lebanon, terrorist attacks that have left people blind and killed people, including children, right? Openly making these threats against American citizens like myself here in the streets of New York City, joined by Israelis, and nothing is done about it. Openly tolerated by the Democrats as well, not just the Republicans. So, it's clear that, not only is it a double standard, it's beyond that. We have never seen Palestinians calling for bombing of Israelis here in New York.
And that's a wrap. Cenk just walked out of this verbal battlefield with a win so massive even if Piers' rulebook couldn't spin it. While Piers was drowning in his own bureaucratic nonsense and Victor was fumbling through legal mumbo-jumbles like a rookie at a moot court, Cenk steamrolled through with brutal honesty and razor-sharp logic. Let's talk about the mic drop moment. Cenk obliterated the double standards for deporting pro-Palestinian voices while RIA sympathizers roam free, pint in hand. Without a second glance, Piers' endless whining about procedures sounded like a scratched record, and Victor's arguments fell apart faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. Cenk didn't just win, he flipped the script. Free speech? Only if the monkey's right. The Israel lobby influence? Let's just say it's not exactly subtle. Piers' whole keep it real act blew up in his face harder than a failed TikTok trend, and Cenk left them all in the dust, smirking like he just schooled a room full of flat earthers again. Hit that like button, share this with everyone, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you next time, where it only gets wilder.